Welcome everyone to the Power Up with Joe Weaver shift update for July 2024. Welcome back everyone. All right, before we get into this month's shift update, wanted to remind everyone that I am now offering remote 24-hour energetic cleanses to assist everyone in tuning into themselves to a greater degree, becoming aware of your patterns, self-healing, and so on. It's mainly a time for self-reflection and clarity. The time period of 24 hours gives you you could say like a spa treatment energetically, to where you have, again, that assists with more clarity, focus, becoming more aware of things, and so on. I've combined the 24-hour cleanse with a 2-hour coaching session, which is now available also. These things are not posted on my website currently, but I will be soon. Please email me or contact me however you wish if you would like to have more information regarding that and or more information and so on. I'm going to be posting more events soon. I just had one thing after the other. It seems like time's flying by, and getting to be able to have time to even schedule things these days is quite challenging. It seems like the days are flying by. Next thing you know, I'm doing another shift update. It's a month is gone. So it's been quite interesting. So the next thing I want to mention, preliminary info, is that with these shift updates, it's a matter of a combination of information that I've accumulated over a period of the last month, and my own experiences, information that's come to me to share, to discuss, and so on. That's all related to our shift in vibration and consciousness here on Earth, the changes that are currently taking place within our individual selves, but also within the collective, our collective changes, and so on. So if there's any topics that I have not discussed in the past months and that you would like discussed, please email them to me or post the question or the statement or topic that you would like discussed in the comment section of the YouTube video. Therefore, I'll look at it and see if we can include it in next month's shift update. All right, so I think that's the preliminary info for this month. Let's go ahead and get into the first thing. And this is again, I started this last month where we discuss a certain word or phrase. And this one is, what is the light quotient? What is the light quotient? So you can think of the light quotient, our light quotient. Everyone has a light quotient. It's our average sustained vibration that our physical body is radiating. It goes into the amount of energetics and, say, the integration of our multidimensional self that we have been able to ground through the physical body. As our integration of our self takes place, it activates different levels of our energetic systems. You can sort of look at these energetic systems like wheels within a clock, because one wheel turns the other wheel. It's all sort of connected and works together. But these essentially wheels and the spinning of our energetic, say, systems and so on, with that, it's bringing a level of vibration. In a way, you could also look at this as our energetic systems is a combination of energetic ties. You can say higher frequency ties and lower frequency ties. As we release more of our lower frequency ties, therefore, then we're more open to be connecting with more higher frequency energetic ties to the levels of our own being and beyond. So that sort of goes into the reason why the importance of releasing old energetics that we're holding on to, old energetic patterns, old energetic programs, and so on. Looking back at our early childhood, for example, and the traumas that we've gone through, and that we're sort of trying to stuff away, push away, and so on. These things don't go away unless we face them and transmute them, and therefore it's no longer a lower frequency energetic tie. That lower frequency energetic tie is dissolved. Therefore, it's no longer tying us into those lower energetic systems. So the process of personal transformation, personal integration, and so on is the process of not escaping anything that we have experienced, but transforming what we have experienced. So therefore, it is no longer, wearing or connecting us into the old, what we've experienced in the old, and so on. So the light quotient is the sustained vibration, average vibration of the levels of our being on a regular basis. That's the light quotient. All right. So get into the next one, the chosen ones. I've seen people through different channelings in some religions and so on, people talk about the chosen ones. And I think it's definitely a very good topic to discuss regarding our shift in consciousness and so on. Just even the words, the chosen ones, means that there's someone on the outside of us choosing someone or something or a group of people and everything else. When in reality, there's no one on the outside of us. We are all that is already. So this whole idea of that there are chosen ones on planet Earth is a lie. It's a big lie that has been portrayed, in religions and in the New Age kind of stuff, because I've seen these in different channelings, and there's a lot of information out there that I'm going to go into further in this shift update that has to do with distracting people. And it's very easy for people and our egos and so on to give our power outside of ourselves. To say, that there's going to be a chosen group or whatever, that is going to ascend into a space that is no one else is going to be able to get to, because, of course, these people are chosen by a higher power, and so on, everything else. This is a distraction. It's a distraction move to keep people disempowered. The fact that, when you are viewing outside of yourself, that say that there's going to be a being saving me. I've gone into this in other videos and everything else. But there are no chosen ones. We choose to come here to incarnate into this physical body. Everyone, you could say their I am presence, their divine self levels, and so on, know what we are getting ourselves into. We choose to come here. We chose ourselves to come here. So there's no one outside the self that is choosing a group or a single person or anyone. So this whole idea, when you hear someone or say it's coming through in a channeling and it's talking about the chosen ones, just know that this is a form of manipulation. This is coming from a being or somewhere that is wanting you to stay disempowered, to not step into your power and knowingness of who you truly are and the power of your own existence. There's, like I said, there's a lot of beings out there that want humans to stay disempowered. So there's a lot of information that relates to that. So that's the info on the chosen ones. What's on the other side? So the other side, as it has been discussed in the past, there's been always like, you can't really see what's on the other side of your fear until you let go of the fear. Once you let go of the fear, then you're able to experience what's on the other side of that. More peace, harmony, oneness, and so on. More connection within your own self. Just with fear in itself, we're holding on to that fear, and you could sort of see the actual, say if you had a fear of one thing only, just one thing. A lot of times we have fears of all kinds of different things, but I'm just focusing on one specific topic. You could view that fear as a sphere that goes around your awareness. Once you come to terms with that fear, either you face the fear or you say, I'm no longer going to be fearful of this bug, an animal or a bug or whatever. And you actually then hold the bug within your hand and you're like, okay, this bug is not that bad. So I'm no longer fearful of this bug. And therefore that sphere of awareness that you had at that time of fear is gone. It's no longer there. Therefore, when you look at this bug or whatever it is, you no longer have that same sense. You no longer have that experience with that specific object in a way. So you have moved out of the sphere that you were within and you expanded because you're no longer within it. So that means that is the same thing as being what is on the other side. There are a lot of different things that we don't really know of until we move beyond these things. Sort of like what's beyond the physical body. Do we know ourselves beyond the physical body? Until we go beyond the physical body, then we truly know what it is. A lot of people have near-death experiences where their soul leaves the physical body for a short period of time, either by an accident or during a surgery or when they're really sick or whatever else. describe this experience of being outside of their physical body. Even some people are able to do this consciously without, the process of a near-death experience, but you're able to actually leave the physical body, move into the astral body and do astral traveling. You're able to actually view the physical body while it's sleeping. There's a lot of different experiences regarding all this, but the main thing is that through that experience, then you know what is on the other side. So with regarding all these different things, we have these different perceptions that we hold on to, different beliefs and so on, that we sort of hold on to and say, oh, I just don't want to let go of this. I don't want to let go of this or that or whatever. So you're not going to be able to experience what is beyond that until you release it. It's just the same as you can't cross the bridge until you release what you're holding on to, that's dragging you back, that's holding you back from crossing the bridge. So there's a lot of different things, that goes into this. It's we live our life through different patterns, through different things that we have sort of come complacent. We've sort of become relaxed into our patterns and sort of our securities of like, well, I don't really like to break these patterns. I really don't like to go and experience these new things because it goes, it's going to mess up my daily routine, And so there's all these different things that we're holding ourselves back from. My suggestion is to break up your patterns, do new things, get up at a different time of the day, wake up earlier, go outside when the sun comes up, go to a different place, go visit a new area that you haven't been to before. Try to change up your patterns and these daily routines that sort of tie us into the same viewpoint on a daily basis. Sort of, it's a lot of these things might be not, may shock our system. Do something that you would normally not do. To change up your patterns. What this does is that changes our viewpoint, our perception, and therefore we're able to experience something. We're able to have expansion into something that we did not experience before, that we weren't aware of before, and so on. So just be willing to experience what's on the other side, not just stay back and with your security and so on. That's very, very important, these days, to experience the new, to let go of the old. All right, going into the next thing, being spiritual. So, I think I've touched on this in previous videos, talking about the spiritual trap and so on. In this example, I want to get into how easy it is to identify ourselves as something. The ego and our mental mind is always looking to identify, identification. Oh, I am spiritual. I do this thing that is, we sort of relate as being spiritual. I've covered my physical body in sacred geometry, tattoos, for example. Therefore, it makes me more spiritual. I wear certain clothes that, again, or I do this, or that again relates to being spiritual. While in the same way, we can say to ourselves, well, as this spiritual identity, that means that I can't eat that. I can't say that. I can't wear those clothes. I really can't go there at a certain location or whatever, because again, that's against my sort of spiritual belief or my spiritual identity. So all these different things that tied into spiritual identity actually creates a prison. It creates a structure that we find security in. Again, the finding of the security is tied into the identity of the ego and the mental mind. So this is something that's very easy for our consciousness to fall into this trap of this spiritual identity. So to give you an idea, here's something else to think about regarding this. So a lot of people know about Jesus. So if Jesus, the being, do you think that the spiritual Jesus in himself is going to say, "Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm spiritual." So, and do you think that Buddha is going to identify himself as spiritual? I'm spiritual. I'm a spiritual being. Or, Mother Mary, or any of the ascended masters, or any being that you see as an ascended being, are going to identify themselves as anything? Or are they going to view themselves and or describe themselves, as many of you know they do, as all that is, as the light and love of source, or the wholeness in itself? Why would they describe themselves as being a certain identity or separate than? To say that I am spiritual means that there's something else that is not spiritual. Means that description in itself is a level of separation. Do you see that? Do you see that the actual description, and if you take that on as an identity, you are describing yourself as separate than someone else or a group of beings or whatever else that is separate than you. You're actually creating separation through that identity. That is, again, it might be a challenging thing for some people to perceive, but it sort of goes into the previous topic as the chosen ones. It's very easy for the spiritual ego to separate itself, again, from someone or something within this existence. The more that we're able to release the levels of separation within the levels of our consciousness, the more that we're able to see what's on the other side of that separation. Again, this is tied into levels and layers upon layers of this prison of consciousness that we have built around our being. In order to see beyond this structure and prison that we have created within our awareness is to let go of these levels of separation. So that goes into being spiritual in itself. All right, going into the next topic. sexually weak. I didn't really know how to, the title of this to really put it, but in last month's update, for those of you that have not seen it, you can go view that on the YouTube channel. I got into regarding sexual manipulation and all kinds of different stuff there. This sort of goes into that. If you look at, as I described in last month's video, the amount of manipulation that's tied into sexual energy in itself is the number one manipulated energy on the planet, without a doubt. You could see that the amount of priests in the world that have manipulated or sexually abused children and so on. The amount of the multi-billion-dollar industry of sexual slavery and so on that's currently existing on planet Earth. And the next thing that I wanted to share in this month's topic of sexually weak regarding this, if you look at the amount, if someone is going to be blackmailed, how does that normally happen? The majority of these blackmails have to do with people tricking someone else into doing something that they might not normally do through a sexual act. And therefore they're videotaped, and therefore then those people are easily manipulated because they are being blackmailed to do something else that they don't necessarily want to do. If you look at the Epstein client list, and the amount of people that went to Epstein Island, politicians, and a lot of different people. There's a lot of different information out there. The reason why a lot of this information might not come out is because of the manipulation and the blackmail through the different systems of political and so on that have put people in situations because of different sexual blackmail that they say, well, if you don't approve this bill, we're going to bring these videos out of you having sex with a child, or you basically have an affair on your wife, and all this different stuff. So you might be wondering, why in the hell am I talking about giving all this right now? Is look at the level of power. Okay, instead of if someone is sexually, you can say, in tune with themselves, therefore they're not going to be manipulated. They're sexually, you can sort of say, sovereign in a way. It's not in the means restriction. I'm not talking about restriction or abstinence or anything else like that. I'm talking about is that you're in tune with yourself, and in all ways and in all levels. If we are weak, example, the topic, the main title of this, sexually weak, then we are very easily manipulated. And as I mentioned in last month's video, there are beings, non-human beings, that feed off of the deep, dark energetics of sexual energy that is, again, that is the lower frequency energetics that take place. So there's a lot a lot of different levels of manipulation. A lot of people don't even really want to take their awareness there because of what all this may brew up. They actually might sense and or see within themselves. And they're like, oh, damn, I don't even want to think about that. I don't even want to take my awareness there and all that other stuff. But again, in that way, in that space of not wanting to go there, to truly see what exists here in this world, means that you are actually weak. You're energetically weak in that area. You're not truly in tune with yourself on that level, to the point where you're not going to be manipulated by anyone or anything. And that sort of like duplicates itself on a level of fear. If you're fearful, if you're fearful of this or that, then you're very easily manipulated. You're going to be easily swayed in one direction or another because of that fear. In the same way, energetically, on the levels of our sexual energy, our sexual interactions and so on, they're going to be very easily manipulated if we're not truly in tune with ourselves on those levels. To truly face every single thing that exists that we have experienced and truly transmute those levels and transmute those experiences into harmony and balance. Therefore, we're not in a space of weakness. We're in a space of power. Again, what is the whole phrase of these videos in the first place? Power up. It's time to power up. It's not just like powering up to rule over someone or something. We are stepping into our power to where we are aware of ourselves and in tune with ourselves, to the point where we are sovereign beings. We are in tune. We may see the fear, we may see the darkness and everything else, and not turn away from it, but embrace it to the point where it no longer affects you. You're no longer going to be in a space of dualistic battle. All of that dissolves when you truly step more and more into your power. These examples that I'm giving regarding the sexual, energy and so on, is not something that is it's not talked about very often within the, regarding this shift in consciousness and everything. But the main thing is it's all tied together. To know that our energetic systems, as I explained in a previous topic in this shift update, is that we have lower frequency and higher frequency energetic ties. If we're still holding on to these old programs and old energetics, it's how can you expect to raise your light quotient into a higher level of vibration if you're still holding on to lower frequency energetic ties and lower frequency energetics in general that are tied into your lower chakra system? So again, cleansing and so on doesn't mean abstinence. It does not mean holding up barriers. It means dissolving all barriers. It means freedom, openness, but at the same time with having discernment of the energetics that we're tying into, that we're interacting with, and therefore saying, well, I no longer wish to experience that or this or whatever. We are more in tune with ourselves at that space. We're not easily manipulated. So that's the reason why I'm bringing up this information regarding sexual energy and so on. And I have a feeling that different examples I'm going to be continuing to give other examples in the coming months and so on regarding all that. All right. So into the next thing, importance of energetic cleansing. And it sort of goes into the last topic of being sexually weak. We have these, connections that we've had with people that we've had sexual interaction with that actually tie into the levels of our energetics. And if you, say, haven't cleared these energetics, of course, they remain. It's like, the mind, the mental mind, foot falling asleep there. The mental mind is always like, I really don't want to go there. I don't want to take my awareness there. It's very, very easy for us to do that. To sort of dismiss things. Like, oh, well, I really didn't mean for that to happen, but I'm going to move on. That's fine. The main thing is, though, if we experience different things, energetics exist. If we created a scenario that we experienced, energetics are tied into that. And the same goes for levels of our energetic systems. If as I explained, we have lower frequency and higher frequency energetic ties. If we don't continue to clear out the lower frequency energetic ties, how are we to integrate more higher frequency vibrational energies through our physical body unless we clear the space for those energetics to exist? So that's the importance of energetic cleansing. In the same way, you could sort of say self-healing is the same thing. When we are healing ourselves from the different things that we have energetically connected to in the past. It's the reason why I offer a 24 energetic cleanse to clear out what can be cleared to that point to assist you in becoming more aware of what you're holding on to. It's these cleansing periods, it's not like you can clear out every single thing there is that within the levels of our consciousness, is because a lot of this stuff is in place for a reason. You can sort of say, I'm clearing all this in alignment with my divine will. But there's a lot of energetics and blockages and all these different things that exist for a reason for us to truly come to terms with what we're holding on to, what we're continuing to recreate. And these recreating patterns mean that we're holding on to something. And until we consciously come to terms with whatever that is, therefore, we're still within that space. We have to clear it. Therefore, we're no longer going to be recreating it. So, like doing periodic, regular maintenance within your energetic systems and learning how to actually clear your energetics is another thing in itself. That's the reason why, we get into that in the new Paradigm masterclasses. But so there's always new ways. A lot of people experience Reiki, and they're like, well, this Reiki is just going to take care of everything it needs to take care of. But again, there's different levels of stepping into your power to become aware of how the energetics flow. It's not just to say that something else that you view, like the Reiki energy, is just going to take care of everything. It's not. Because the Reiki energy, in a Reiki specifically, energy is limiting in some ways. It has its own limitations. So it's only going to clear certain levels of vibrations. As you become more aware of the levels of your energetic systems, say beyond the chakras in the body and so on, you're able to see and sense, feel the energetics beyond the physical body, able to clear these levels more efficiently, more deeply. You're able to sense things energetically that you may be coming in contact with, and therefore you're able to clear these energies more efficiently. It's just another level of what I'm describing here is the old ways. If you've viewing clearing energy in the same way that you were viewing clearing energy 5 or 10 years ago, means that you're still within a sphere of your own structure. You're not expanding. So my suggestion is to be open to experiencing new ways of clearing, sensing, seeing, feeling, experiencing energy in itself, to continually be working through the process of what it means to become aware of energy in itself, to see how it flows, to sense the different vibrational levels of energy and not just classifying it as white, light, or dark, and so on. See that there's no such thing as just light and dark. There's just levels and levels upon levels of different vibrational energies. The more in tune we can come with these different levels, the more that we see things to a greater degree, the more we're powering up and standing more in our power and so on. And that brings us into the next, the idea of chakra clearing is chakra clearing, clearing out the chakras. But to know that we really don't have a 100% clear chakra. It's usually still stuff there that we are going and processing and working through. So my suggestion is, again, our perceptions and what we say, the words, the frequency of our words carry levels of vibration. So let me give you an example of this. If you could say, I have a blocked chakra, okay? Energetically, you're imposing that block, not only just through the perception of it. Again, I'll remind you of quantum physics. Wherever you take your awareness and through your intention and whatever you're saying is imposing that level of vibration on whatever you're looking at. So instead of saying that I have a blocked chakra, say maybe I have a weakened chakra. You might be able to sense the energetic difference between that. There's definitely an energetic difference between saying I have a weakened chakra and I have a blocked chakra. That's definitely different. And so instead of saying in a same reference of the chakra being weak, that means when your chakra is open, you can say, I also have that chakra specifically is powered up. It's powerful. In the same way, when you're working with other people, with that, say if you are a energy healing practitioner and so on, and you're working with someone else, and you use these words with someone else, you can say, wow, this chakra that you have here is really powerful. instead of just saying it is open, you can say it's powerful. And instead of saying it is blocked, you can say, well, this chakra right here, though, is a little bit weak, and wonder why it's weak. Let's work on what you're holding on to consciously that is making this chakra weak. And if we look at the chakras in themselves, what are they? They are spinning vortexes. They're spinning vortexes of energy. So it makes sense to call if the spin is weak or the spin is powerful. It just makes it more in line with actually what is going on here. It's not just saying, I have a blocked chakra. It's not necessarily, if you say that, you're not really taking reference. This is a spinning vortex of energy that we're referencing here. So it's either weak or it's powerful. It's just a different way of viewing it. It's a different way of thinking about it, different way of experiencing it, and so on. It sort of goes into the last thing regarding the previous topic of energetic cleansing. It's the process of we're not going to be 100% clear while we're in a physical body. There's going to continue to be sort of like layers of the onion. As we process one thing, we move beyond that into something else to process, to being able to face, to be able to transform, to integrate, and so on. So that goes into the chakra clearing and so on. All right, the next thing, using your whole brain. So as we integrate the levels of our chakras, you could say that the ego in itself relates to the bottom three chakras. In a way, when we're in that space of operating through the space of the ego, we're only using a very small portion of our energetics. We're only using at that time a very small portion of our energetic systems, but also our brain. The more that we integrate the levels of our multidimensional self through the physical body, we start using more and more of our brain capacity. Our left and right hemisphere of the brain become more in sync with one another. I think I've mentioned this in previous videos, I'm not even sure when, but there are studies that have done on people, monks, that have done a lot of meditation, and they took CAT scans of their brain, and in time, as doing different practices of connection with themselves and so on, there's more neurological connections between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, physical mass between the left and right hemispheres of the brain of people that have done a lot of connection with the levels of their own self. So this is not some kind of belief or something that is a mental projection. This actually relates to the physical body. The more that we're integrating more levels of our self through, our multidimensional self through the physical body, it activates different levels of our energetic systems. We're starting to use more of instead of use partial brain, we're using both hemispheres at the same time. And in combination with that, so according on what stage of integration you are going through, we connect our heart with the brain, and the heart and brains basically start working together in unison. We've gone through the process connecting those levels together through the process of integration. Therefore, the heart and the mind are working together in unison. We're able to process more information at once. more information, as information's where it comes through, we're able to perceive it without being overwhelmed. We're able to multitask multiple things all at the same time while staying in harmony and balance without moving into a level of stress. Again, that's one of the benefits of integration of the self. A lot of people will be like, why go through the process of self-realization? Why go through the process of personal transformation? What is the benefit of all this? There's so much talk, like Elon Musk, and talking about putting artificial chips in people's minds, creating super soldiers and all this other stuff through artificial means. When in reality, we can do this, we can accelerate our brain capacity, we can expand our brain capacity, we can do all this stuff naturally. It's through the process of integration through our multidimensional self that we can do all these things naturally. We do not need chip implants in our brain. We don't need all that stuff in order to have expanded awareness, have more brain capacity to process more information, and so on. It's just it's a matter of willingness to do it. It's the benefit of experiencing that. All right. Moving into the next topic here. Fear, anger, and hate. It's there's so much out there that is so simple, but so many people don't put the pieces together of how different things are connected and what level of our consciousness creates different these different experiences. Fear, anger, and hate are all created through the ego. As we have fear of something, from that fear, out of that fear comes anger. Is either the anger is because you tried something and it didn't work, and therefore you have fear of losing control of whatever it is. Therefore, then if you've done that for a while, that leads into anger, for example. From that anger then becomes hate. So all three of these things are combined, and they're all come from the same level of our consciousness, of the ego. In the same way, a lot of people identify, sort of like the example hate. When I'm describing fear, anger, and hate, I'm actually referring to the energy of fear, anger, and hate. Someone that says, "Oh, I hate kale, the vegetable, the leafy green kale. Oh, I hate kale." That's in a way is sort of misidentified. Really, it's not a hate that you don't necessarily are not bringing the energy of hate when through the hate of the kale. You just simply dislike kale in itself. You just don't like it. A lot of people use the word hate when it's not really bringing the energy of hate. I suggest pretty much just don't totally do away with the word altogether, because there's really nothing to hate. The more you look at it, more look at things, there's nothing to hate. It just is what it is. I might dislike something, but that's about it. But the true energy of hate in it, so where you truly despise and hate someone, Similar, like a lot of people in this world have been fell for the manipulation trip to hate Trump, and so on. They fell for the separation tactic and hate. They fell into this space of hate. Oh, just everything about them. They just hate. And that is actually tied into the energy of that. But see, let's look backwards. How did that hate originate? If you go backwards to the anger and then the fear, it all relates back to fear. In one way or another, it's fear of something, someone or something happening that's going to be out of their control or whatever else that is going to spurs that level of anger and hate. So all three of these things happen together. They don't happen without one another. Fear, anger, and hate are all experiences coming out of the same space of consciousness within the level of your being that's called the ego. And there's no getting around it. Fear, anger is tied into fear. Hate is tied into fear. No matter what in the world you say or what example it is, it's all according on how deeply you look at it, it all relates back to fear. All right, my friends, moving on to the next one. Moving into non-judgment. I saved this one for the last for a reason. Because we've talked about, just like in the last topic, about fear, anger, and hate. There's a lot of discussion. They're talking about the anger, the energy of anger, the energy of fear, the reasons to let go of fear, anger, and hate, and all these different things. And the energetics those things that you hold on to, how it holds you within a certain level of conscious awareness. So now let's look at the energy of non-judgment. If we have judgment, that means we're judging something within the levels of our awareness. We're usually judging it in a way of, say, putting it in a space of light or dark. We might be viewing it at a level of, say, good or bad, and so on. That's the energy that you are existing within when you are in a level of judgment. And as I explained in a previous topic, what is on the other side of that judgment? Of course, that is non-judgment. And within that space of non-judgment is energy. It's another level of energy, and levels upon levels of energy that exists in non-judgment. We, as a collective, no matter how much people hold on to fear, separation, judgment, all the aspects of ego creations and everything else, there's the opportunity to move into the space of energy that exists beyond all of that. It's here right now. People call it the new earth. I've called it the new earth, the new age of existence, the new paradigm. The main thing is that this space of existence has its own levels of energy that is available to be experienced. But it's not experienced until you move beyond what you're holding on to currently. In order to move into higher frequency energetics, we have to cleanse the space and allow more connections of our divine self to flow through this physical body. We have to operate in a way that vibrationally aligns with these expanded levels of our energetic systems. If we're continually on a daily basis, living in a space of judgment, living in a fear, in the space of lack, whatever else, you can see that you're, as I described in a previous regarding light quotient, and vibrationally matching levels of your energetic systems. In order to vibrationally match an expanded level of your energetic system means that you have to be in that space of vibration. That's what vibrational matching is. So raising your light quotient, meaning it's not done through, okay, I'm going to go meditate for an hour or two every morning, or I'm going to do this spiritual routine. I'm going to do this or that, again, spiritual identity related stuff. And therefore, I'm going to be more in tune with my expanded self. All that other stuff really doesn't matter. What really matters is your true vibration that you are bringing, you're allowing to flow through every minute of the day. Not just a few minutes or an hour or two in the morning when you meditate, and then you go out the door, you're driving down the road, and you're continually in a space of anger, or you're walking down the street and you're viewing everyone around you, and you're continually in a space of judgment of everyone around you. Or you're, here or there throughout the rest of your day so it's a matter of, just as the light quotient is your average sustained vibration, you got to look at what level of vibration that you are bringing the majority of every single day. What are the vibrational thoughts that are continually going through your brain, and what energetics are you creating through those thoughts? What old patterns that you're holding on to that are continually being recycled through the levels of your awareness that are tying into your current light quotient? What are you creating? Move, and the opportunity to move and experience the energy of non-judgment is not a mental perception. It is not a mental projection. It is not a belief. It is an actual energy that you can sense and feel and see. It is tangible, meaning that it can be experienced. It can be known. So just as fear, anger, and hate can be known, it can be experienced, it can be known, so can the energies of non-judgment. And I invite you all to experience that. It's available every day. If we open our eyes and we're breathing, and or if we're not breathing, even beyond the physical body, we have the opportunity to experience that. All right, my friends, as I explained earlier in this video, shift update, if you have any questions, comments, if you would like to have any topics discussed that I haven't gone over before, please email those to me or post them in the comment section below the video. If anyone is interested in a 24-hour cleanse, Again, those are done remotely. You can contact me if you're interested, or a 2-hour coaching session to work through these things that we're going through. It's just a matter of process. It's not something, this landscape that we call a reality is continually changing now on an accelerated rate. I think a lot of you are experiencing that. Therefore, we have to be willing to continually change, to continually be willing to change what and how we are processing in this reality, to being able to release and experience something new. All right, my friends, I think that's enough for this one. Until next month, peace out. Love you all. Cheers.